possibly go up to number 3, 4. It could kind of rotate in that position as well.
Hey, you got something in your eye, oh, shit. On the outside. First of all, let me go ahead and say this real quick. Hey guys, welcome to the Been True podcast. I'm with my brother David. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on, people? How you doing, world?
Right now, we are doing a little video conference, and he's basically ranked all of the Marvel movies. So we're kind of discussing it. I'm seeing where his head is at. It's been an interesting conversation so far, but we're going to just go from the top 10. But before that, he's going to go through his everything he ranked so far prior to the top 10, and then we'll get into the discussion. So, David, if you want to, go ahead and take it away.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run through. Number 23, the bottom movie for me is Thor. Then we got number 22, Doctor Strange. Number 21, The Incredible Hulk. Number 20, Iron Man 3. Number 19, Captain Marvel. Number 18, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 16, Thor 2, The Dark World. Number 15, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 14, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 13, Iron Man 2. Number 12, Iron Man. And number 11, Captain America, The First Avenger. And I know that's controversial.
Let's be clear and let's be honest. A lot of people are going to probably have a lot of these movies in their top 10 that you're going to name. However, their order, the way they're going to rank them might be different. So we kind of expect to hear some things that we expect to hear. You know, obviously you could throw some curveballs in there, but they've heard your top everything else. So you can go ahead and get into it.
All right, these movies right here, they're the cream of the crop, man. These are the best of the best. Only the top movies can make it here in this list. I mean, Marvel puts out great movies, and I enjoy a lot of them. Even the movies I mentioned already, I enjoyed a lot. But with that being said, number 10 in my list is Thor Ragnarok, which, you know, I enjoyed that movie a lot. I thought it was really good. It wasn't my favorite movie, obviously, is number 10, but I thought it had a really cool story. It was the best version of Thor we had, and, you know, the Hulk being included and Loki being included and all the characters was cool and interesting, and I liked it.
I'm not mad at that. Just want to put that out there. I thoroughly enjoyed Thor Ragnarok. It was a different spin on Thor. If you're a fan of him in the comics, obviously it's not exactly the Thor that we know from the comics, at least when I was growing up. But the comedic spin, Chris Hemsworth, he's a comedian. He's not a comedian, but he's a funny guy. So it was a very interesting spin on it. I actually enjoyed it a lot also. So I ain't mad at that pick as number 10.
All right, number 9, I got Avengers Age of Ultron. Solid movie for me. The one weakness of the movie for me is the villain, which is kind of a shame because Ultron is actually probably one of my favorite villains in the comics, and he's probably my favorite Avengers villain for sure. And but I feel like that's kind of what fell apart for me for the movie. But otherwise, it's still a great movie, great action. There's a lot of great action scenes in that movie, and it's cool. Like you get to see the characters kind of interacting with each other in a different way from the first movie, but not as good as the first movie.
All right, so this one is, I think, it's going to be, I'm not going to say controversial, but I don't think this one would land in a lot of people's top 10 per se. But, you know, everybody has different opinions and stuff like that. But for me, it probably wouldn't hit that hard. There's definitely some movies that you named prior to this that I would definitely consider. I haven't made a list, so I haven't really sat back
you seem like
and thought about. No, I'm thinking actually more Spider-Man, but I don't know. I got to sit back and actually think about my list. If you guys are interested in seeing that, figuring out what my top 10 are, then let me know in the comment section and we'll do something like that. But anyways, I'm not mad at it, but I'm just saying I don't think that won't be, it would hit as hard for a lot of fans. And at least for me, it did.
Spider-Man, I'm doing a marathon. I've almost completed all the movies. I've done 22 out of 23 movies. The last movie on my list to watch is Spider-Man Far From Home. So my evaluation, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt with that, where that movie is concerned. But I'm pretty sure it probably won't have room in my top 10. But nonetheless, it is a great movie. So moving on to number 8, I have in this spot Black Panther. At number 8, great movie, man.
This nigga tripping.
Movie. The pros of Black Panther don't really need to be said because, like I said, all these movies that's in my top 10 are very good movies.
That's facts. I ain't mad at that.
Top 5 movies for me are great movies, are amazing movies. The one thing that really falls apart for me and it's hard for me to shake it, and that's why I couldn't move it above what's coming up. But it's that final fight scene in that movie just tears it apart for me. Like I don't like the graphics and the way they look when they fall in and stuff. So I pretty much like, for me, that's like almost the end of the movie, because it just kind of turns me off a little bit. But besides that, visually it looks amazing and it's a great movie.
What I think personally is, it's a very cultural movie. Had a big impact for us, for our people. So obviously, for me, regard this movie very highly. It had one of the best villains in Killmonger. It was the first Marvel movie to actually win at the Oscars. So it's a big deal. I know all those accolades and everything else doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of if the story was good, if it was shot well and everything else. But the story was good. It was shot well. It was a good video. It was a good movie. So I would rank this fairly high. I think, like I said, I can't say because I don't actually have my list, but I think some people may dispute this one. So, and I have no problem with how you rank it, but I'm just saying I think it's room for questioning and debating.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see you're not alone, and I can imagine there's quite a few people around the world that would put Black Panther as number one on that list, and I wouldn't blame them for it, because it is a good movie. But so is the next movie on my list, which is number 7, and that's Spider-Man: Homecoming. To me, I feel like it's the best Spider-Man movie we have. Spider-Man 2 is arguably in contention for me for that, but Spider-Man: Homecoming was a great movie, very solid movie. It's the same kind of things you said about Black Panther. It has like all that great stuff. I mean, it's a great villain. Those two movies, man, they both have really great villains in it, and but they also have great stories. And I think maybe the nostalgia of Spider-Man for me, maybe because I was more a Spider-Man fan growing up than a Black Panther fan. Maybe that nostalgia is what probably pushed Spider-Man a little bit above Black Panther, and maybe like also the fact that Spider-Man, like if Spider-Man looked like Black Panther did when he's falling down, like fighting Killmonger or whatever, like at the end, that would be acceptable for me. It looks okay if Spider-Man was doing it, but when Black Panther's doing it, it just looks weird. So like for me, I don't know. It's close, man. Like this movie, these movies right here, the 6 through 8, really they can rotate around, they can flip flop around in many ways, and they have for me. But I had to go ahead and move Spider-Man one spot above Black Panther for me personally. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
The Marvel started off a little rough with their villains. But in the last few years, I mean, of course, they had some good ones like Loki and stuff like that. But in the last few years with the Killmongers, the Thanoses, and now you get in the Spider-Man movies, I think he's 2 for 2 with his villains. Now, the debate for me between these two movies is which villain was better. Because I think they were both really good movies. But now the question is, which villain was better? And I think I give it to Far From Home and Mysterio, just slightly, but because the Vulture was an excellent villain also. The story they did between him and his girlfriend and everything else, like it was really well done. So overall, very good movie. One of my faves. It might even be in my top 10 if I ever make a list. So I'm not mad at this. I don't know if I could necessarily put either one of those two over Black Panther, but definitely well-deserved in the top 10 for sure.
Feel you. And number 6, this movie for me personally, it like instantly like connected with me. Like, and this is a character that I didn't care about. It's a character that I didn't really, it wasn't a character I was invested in. And it's Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie. It's number 6 on my list. I feel like Ant-Man is an amazing movie. I feel like it's a great movie. I feel like anybody in the world could just literally, like, it don't matter if you're old, young, a kid, like from a different country. Like, it don't matter where you're from or what your background is. You could just sit down and watch Ant-Man and you will enjoy it. Like, it's really good comedy. It's a good story. And the villain is really good. And like his motivations and things, like what he's trying to do is really good too. Um, the action in that movie is freaking ridiculous. Like, and it's unique to Ant-Man. You know what I mean? Like, of course, Ant-Man appears in a couple more movies in my list, but that is where it kind of started. And I feel like Ant-Man, he just has such a uniqueness about his character of what they're able to do with that shrinking and growing and stuff like that. And they put it all on display in this movie. That fight scene, him and the Yellow Jacket, man, that is one badass fight. And just throughout the whole movie, man, like some of the sequences and storytelling, it's really cool.
Now, you know, movies doing well if they can make you get emotionally invested in an ant, you know. And the fights, like I never imagined Ant-Man, the character, being on the big screen and actually being interesting or actually being able to be worth anything as a fighter, you know. But they did some crazy stuff with the fights. So I'm a big fan of the movie. It was funny. What's the actor name? Luis or whatever his name is? The Mexican dude. He was funny.
Yeah.
You know, it has a lot of great moments. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely a great movie. I wouldn't necessarily think, I can't imagine that it would be in my top 10, but I really enjoyed it. So I'm not mad at where you place it. I mean, I wouldn't place it above Black Panther. Obviously, like I said, I wouldn't place it above Spider-Man. So, you know, but I'm not mad because it was a really good movie. So I respect your opinion on that one.
Now it's time for the big guns, bro. Top 5 movies. Trust me, this is hard. This is hard, especially when you get to the top of the list, man. Like number 1, 2, 3. It just could switch up at any moment because I love these movies so much, man. But we're gonna start with number 5. And number 5 for me is Avengers, the first Avengers movie. It's a great movie, man. It generally just had like a lot of great moments in there, and I love that. When I watch it, just so many moments in that movie that I enjoy. Like everything.
I agree.
Like everything, man. Like
I agree.
The beginning of the movie to the end, so much awesomeness.
It was a big deal, bro. It was a big deal. Right. Like having a crossover between those big, you know, big characters and big stars. It was the beginning of this crossover path that they became known for in the Marvel Universe. It was a big deal, of course.
Yeah. And all right, so moving on to number 4, man. And this is another Avengers movie. And it looked like for a while, it was hard for me to figure out if any movie could be better than the first Avengers movie because it was just such a great movie. But after my rewatch, I finally decided to give credit where credit's due, man. And this is actually a really great movie, and that's Avengers Infinity War. I got this movie as my number 4 movie of all of the Marvel movies. It's a great movie, man. Underrated. It's hating on live because you see that guy right there in the background. He was only movie for like 10 minutes. I was hating on it, but I honestly, after watching all the movies consecutively, the payoff in that movie is so rewarding, man. Just watching that movie back and when it, like every moment of that movie, I was just like, it was just amazing and more intensified because it had that legacy of the 21 movies that came before it. So it just built up, and then I was just like, yo, I'm not finding nothing wrong with this movie. It's just flowing. It went by fast. It was like 2.5 hours, and it was just like flowing from scene to scene. Like the action was good. Like there's great action in there and everything. It's like, man, I love this movie, man. And I might have to say, if I had to choose between Infinity War and Avengers, and I can only watch one, I might have to go with Infinity War, man. It's just way more rewarding for me. Like the payoff and everything, it's just way more rewarding. See all those characters interact that way. It's just great.
Yeah, they both were big deals. Like I said, Avengers set the pace for what a crossover event was. Infinity War took that to another level. Obviously, a big fan. Obviously, I'm a big Marvel fan. Obviously, we all are. If you're watching this video, of course you are. Infinity War took it to another level. But the thing is, you can't have well, you can, but you can't have a good hero without a good villain. And that's what Infinity War produced. And it was like one of the most built-up villains in cinema history as he's made appearances prior to this movie. He had a lot to live up to. And Thanos, as a character, as a villain, delivered. And this nigga won. So, very good movie.
Yeah.
I would say some people might find it shocking that it's not closer to the number 1, number 2 spot. But I know which the next few movies are, so I can see the debate in that. So I think this is like the era. This is like this room right here. This top three, top four is where people are gonna be mixing their lists all up. But I think all these movies that you're naming are gonna be in everybody's probably top 3, 4.
It's hard, man. But Infinity War was a great movie, man. And if I could move it up higher, I would. But it's virtually impossible for me to replace it higher than. I mean, actually, to me, it could possibly go up to number 3, 4. It could kind of rotate in that position as well.
Hey, you got something in your eye, oh, shit. On the outside. The other one. That one, yeah. Yeah, there was something in there. I was like, oh shit, nigga, that was in the video, yo. Google it, boogly. We had a little interruption, but let's get back to it, David. All right, well, we stopped off at your number 3, right?
This is tough, man, especially because this movie right here, number 3, was probably my favorite movie for a long time, man, and it still is one of my favorite movies, man. Jesus, man. Oh, it's hard. It's so hard, man. But number 3, I got Winter Soldier. And everybody knows that Winter Soldier is a great movie. It's an amazing movie. And I say up until maybe, these last 2 movies came out, I'm pretty sure, I mean, it was on my top. It was number 1 on my list. So, and it wasn't right away that these movies replaced it. But, I mean, it was tough, man. But I don't even think I really need to say anything about the movie itself because it's so good, and I think everybody can genuinely everybody can agree.
I think most people's opinions is this list, this last 3, 4 are interchangeable. They all are good movies, and I think Winter Soldier changed the game. It definitely took Captain America to another level. The character of Winter Soldier became a staple in the Marvel Universe. It's overall great. Now, before you give us before you get to the next one, I think you should give us your number 1 before you give us your number 2, because right now we have anticipation building of we know what the last 2 movies are. It's only 2 left. That could be in those 2 spots. We have Civil War and we have Endgame.
All right, so this is a very tough decision for me, man, because Civil War had overtaken The Winter Soldier as my favorite movie, and then Endgame came out, and Endgame is an amazing movie, and I just rewatched it most recently. That's the most recent movie I watched, so I have a lot more respect for it, and I love it even more than to be honest, Endgame is almost flawless. So, I'll just talk about both of these movies first, and then I'll tell you which one I pick as number 1. So, Endgame is pretty much almost flawless. It's just perfect, man. Like, it's a great movie. It's a great Avengers movie. And most importantly, it's a great Captain America movie. But it's very rewarding. And just like I said with Infinity War, like the payoff of that movie is like, it's more self-contained than Infinity War, I feel like. But it's like you could just watch that movie and get a really great payoff to it, by itself. Because they go back into Avengers 1. If you love Cap like I do, obviously I love Cap, then you get Cap versus Cap. Cap gets to hold the hammer, and great fight scene at the end. Amazing fight scene at the end. But Civil War.
Great crossover.
Great. I'm not even going to delay no more. All right. So for me, ultimately, I ended up going with Civil War as the greatest Marvel movie of all time, and it's just the action in that movie can't be topped, and it's just a great movie from beginning to end. It's only one stalling point in that movie that for me personally, and that's just when Iron Man's talking because I don't like him. It's like, but it's only one point in the movie where I really kind of like it's that's just when it's really kind of like needed. I mean, his character, but other than that, just. All right, I want to hear you what you got to say about this.
Between Civil War and Endgame, Civil War took what they did with the Winter Soldier and just took it to another level. The Civil War is basically an Avengers movie. It's not really Captain America movie per se. But the things that they explored in that movie, as far as the relationship between Tony and Cap and everything, and also the relationship with the Winter Soldier, they explored some great avenues. The storytelling was excellent. And on the other side of the fence, you have Endgame, which was like the culmination of all these movies, including Civil War and everything else. You've seen the divide in their relationships and everything else. The emotional impact of the end of Endgame is so vast. The lasting effects of Endgame are so high. Like I said, they had a lot to work with because they had so much, but they had a lot to live up to also. So they had a lot riding on this film. Obviously,
Yeah.
the highest selling movie all the time. Obviously, numbers don't matter here. We're talking about what we love, what we like. I think I'll have to go Endgame. I'm not surprised that you picked Civil War necessarily. Actually, I'm more surprised that Winter Soldier is not your number one. After talking to you a little bit, I know how much you say you like Civil War over Winter Soldier. So you probably have some people that love your top 10 because a lot of the movies, except for like Ant-Man probably, and what was number 10?
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron and Ant-Man maybe wouldn't be in a lot of people's top 10. But if they were, Ant-Man might not have been as high.
Marvel makes great movies. They made a lot of incredible movies. And yeah, I wouldn't argue against people who, for making their list however they want to make their list. At the end of the day, Captain America Civil War is the greatest Marvel movie of all time.
Hey, and I respect that, man. So thank you for being here. Thank you. We're on two different time zones. We're trying to make this thing happen. We're going to do more content, of course. Tell everybody your YouTube channel so they can go follow you over there.
Hey, if you guys want to find me on YouTube, just type in youtube.com/David Prophet TV, and you'll go right to my YouTube channel, baby.
I'll try to link it up above. So, guys, down in the comments section, go ahead and discuss this. Let us know what you think of his top 10. Well, what do you think of his list in general? If you guys have your own list, go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video with a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for future content, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.